The New York Knicks could be major players in a buyout market, but they gotta wait to the 28th of February to tap into said remaining talent out there. However, there may be some in-house options that may help the Knicks reach a deep ECF or even championship run this season. Hit that rock. Before we get started, make sure to hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit the dark notification bell to get each and every notification for each and every video I put out there. Appreciate you. Peace, salute. Let's get to it. So, with February coming near, the New York Knicks also heading into the All-Star break, the Knicks are looking to be players in a buyout market. Certainly, there's several names that are out there that could fit what the Knicks want to get and what people believe they want to get now. With the center position kind of being a little bit clearer now with Jericho Sims being trained for Delon Wright. And Hulk Purdy kind of stepped into that backer role, at least until Mitch Robinson comes back, a player that has been said to now been doing contact drills and probably starting to warm up and move into actual basketball simulation, 5-on-5s fairly soon. It seems as if the center position is kind of filled out. The Knicks right now seem to want or need some depth at that wing position, especially getting the defensive wing who can also help spread the floor out a little bit. Will help the Knicks. And just to go over that Delon Wright trade, Delon Wright was traded to the Knicks from the Milwaukee Bucks for Jericho Sims, who really wasn't really productive on the Knicks. We also got the draft rights to Hugo Besson, Spanish guard, I believe, who's playing out in Turkey and having a decent year out in Turkey. Guy that I thought was decent coming out of the draft, but definitely a project just given the lack of size. And just his ability overall. But again, draft rights to Hugo Besson, cash considerations from the Milwaukee Bucks. I believe he also traded off the draft rights to Matthias Lesort to the Washington Wizards. So just to start out, the probably two rules that are really important right now for the Knicks, given their position right below the second apron, around like 550, 580K under the second apron. One rule is that we have to wait till February 28th to where we can sign buyout players to a veteran minimum contract. If we did it before the 28th, or essentially we really couldn't because we'd be hard capped at the second apron, and so we had to wait till the 28th to do so. Now, when you look at the reasons why, largely comes off the Mikal Bridges trade, where we aggregated contracts to trade for Mikal Bridges. Now, at first, the initial blueprint to the trade was that we were taking more money than we were going to bring or send out, and so that would have hard capped us at the first apron. Fortunately, we were able to jigger up the contracts to where we were basically not sending or accepting more money than we were sending out, and so we were able to get into that first apron, or we were not able. We were going to be in the first apron, but not be hard capped. Now, with that being said, again, we cannot sign players until the 28th. Which again, some players are coming off and being acquired by guys, the Celtics be acquiring Torrey Craig, but we had to wait to the 28th in order to sign players and then add them to the final roster spot. And so, people are going to be complaining, oh, we let players. It's just requirements of the CBA, which again sucks. We understand it, but again, Mikal Bridges aggregating those contracts makes us be hard cap at the second apron if we signed before the 28th. And then on top of that, just for some context, just like I mentioned, the Celtics, who are in the second apron already, but they're not hard cap, they can sign a player like Torrey Craig. They're already in the second apron. They'll pay their penalties if they continue to be in a second apron. They don't care. They're looking for championships. Is what it is. The next rule is that the Knicks cannot sign a player whose salary was over the mid-level exception of $12.8 million, given the fact that we're already in the first apron. So players like Ben Simmons, who again, I'm not sure why anybody on the Knicks would be willing to sign Ben Simmons back. No confidence, no jump shot. Game is waning. He's a shell of himself. And even the shell, what he is a shell of, wasn't. It was good, but it wasn't great. And again, if that was the case, that he could get back to those levels, he wouldn't be moved from team to team. But anyway, topic for another day. Again, a team over the first apron, they can't sign a player over that 12.8 mid-level exception. Thus, why a player like a Ben Simmons or Bruce Brown at 20 million, I think 20 million and some change. Those players, Malcolm Brogdon, they can't be signed by the Knicks, given that their contracts are over that mid-level exception of 12.8. So it is what it is. Now, let's get to some of the names. There have been names that we've discussed before on this channel. Guys like Javonte Green coming off the Pelicans, who I like. I believe he'd be an unrestricted free agent this season. I think he's only making 2.4 million, so his contract would definitely be coming off, would definitely allow the Knicks to stay out of that restrictive area in the second apron. But a player like Javonte Green, who I like, 6'4", player, 6.5 points a game, I believe. He's shooting around, was it 40? Shooting around like, is it 40% from three? Or is it probably going down a little bit? Around 37% from three. I think at one point he was shooting around like 40-some% from three. I could be wrong. 45% from the field. 3.6 rebounds. And again, 5.9 points a game. But I like Javonte Green, really tenacious player, energy player, would hound on the boards or help hound on the boards when he's in, for his limited minutes. Good defender, could defend anywhere from the 1 to the 3. Would definitely fit what the Knicks want to do. Now, again, 6'4". People keep thinking that the Knicks are going to acquire Tyree Eason. Like, Tyree Eason is not coming off the Knicks. And I know his mom put out some crazy stuff on Twitter talking about he needs to be utilized more. I would love Tyree Eason on the Knicks, but he ain't coming to the team. You don't cut Tyree Eason. So Javonte Green, for what we would want, not necessarily from a so-called size profile, frame profile, but just for what the Knicks need from the wing position, would definitely be a premier player that the Knicks, I think, should be looking into. There've been so-called interest by the Knicks are looking to Javonte Green, guys like him. There's also some so-called interest from Daniel Tice coming over. But, I think that, again, given where the Pelicans are going, which is absolutely nowhere, Javonte Green would definitely fit what the Knicks would like to do. Another player who I like, given the fact that, look, they're going to be, they're probably going to try to rebuild at this point, especially with some of the players that they have now, is a guy like Ayo Dosunmu, who I liked coming out of the draft from Illinois. 12.4 points a game, 3.6 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 49% from the field. Again, 34.5% from three, but I think it's an aberration. I think he's just essentially struggling this year because his outside shooting numbers have been decent in the past few years. 40% from three. Last year, actually 31.2% his sophomore year, but his freshman year here, or rookie season in the league, 37.6% from three. He's a 3-and-D type of guy. So, again, you probably talking a little bit more in the line of what Miles McBride does. So, it's going to be, obviously, a logjam. But, again, 6'5", plays more of a guard than I guess it's crazy because you consider Javonte Green a guard, but it's like a small wing, but that makes sense. You put him as like a small wing versus Ayo's more of a guard. But they still do the same thing, 3-and-D for the most part. And I like Ayo Dosunmu a lot. Show a little explosiveness here and there. Really consummate pro, man. I like his game a lot, but is he getting in the way of Miles McBride? Do you have some redundancies here? I think, he probably struggles a little more with the wings than, say, Javonte Green. That's why I like Javonte Green probably a little bit more for what this team needs. But Ayo Dosunmu is another name to look out for. I really like his game. Some of the Knicks I think should be looking at. Nah'Shon Hyland is an interesting one, man. This is my son from VCU. But your man is a bug out, bro. Your man is a bug out. Literally just got traded, I believe, to the Hawks and just got waived. Brother Nah'Shon Hyland is wild. And this is a guy that was starting to peak a little bit with the Nuggets. Complain about his playing time and whatnot, and it seems that he had some attitude issues. This is a guy who's come out from college. There's some attitude concerns before, but I believe like his grandma's house burned down and all this other stuff. So, he's had some, it sounds so corny, some bones in his graduate. But, he's had some issues in the past. Nah'Shon Hyland can create. He's a guy that if you give him the ball, he can create, he get to the bucket. Some electric moments scoring-wise from him, but he wants to play regularly. He wants the opportunity. Now, a guy as talented as him, I think sometimes guys like him, they fall into the wormhole of thinking, yo, man, the world owes me an opportunity. And so with him, we saw with the Denver Nuggets, doesn't play defense, is not a team player at times, doesn't pass enough. What you see with him is, I don't want to say entitled, but a guy who's a little bit delusional. And I look, man, look. I think if he gets the opportunity, you could see some Trey Manish type of ascension from him on an offensive end. But again, Trey Man was biding his time with the OKC Thunder. His numbers were still improving each and every year, especially from the outside. Even if his overall impact was kind of meh. Goes over to Charlotte Hornet. And granted he's been hurt several times here and there, but you saw a player like, oh crap, he could be your bench demon. And the team, I could easily see a team trade for him next year. But Nahshon Highland, man, the attitude issues, the fact that he couldn't field a championship level team with Malone at the helm. They favored guys like Christian Brown. It's not Braun, by the way, it's Brown. Speaks volumes. Tyronn Lue couldn't get to him. The Hawks just released him, so he's a journeyman at this point, and I'm not sure he's going to have the defensive focus that Tom Thibodeau likes and favors. To stick in a lineup to feel okay with not having a ball in his hands. If, say, Cameron Payne is operating the offense off the bench, can he play with the starters? Can he actually move the ball around? Tom Thibodeau lives and dies with the ball moving around to the right spot and not you trying to ball hog unless you're Jalen Brunson. So, Nahshon, man, I don't see it happening, but I'll get sick to my stomach if this guy, if he goes overseas, if he goes to the right team, the right coach who could finally tap into his psyche and get him to play a good complementary basketball, because I still think the kid is uber talented. And at one point, I even had him over IQ, but the thing about IQ knows how to be a good student. IQ knows how to play his role. Nahshon hasn't. And despite the fact that I like Nahshon, I just can't see him with the Knicks. At this juncture, with this playoff run, definitely can't see him with the Knicks. The next guy up, man, Chris Boucher, he is a weird player. First of all, it's amazing. This dude is 32 years old. You couldn't tell me this dude is 32 years old, bro. I don't know, son. Son, this is like the noob side by the NBA, son. He like a weird looking dude, son. Like he looks old and young and old. I don't know, man. Suits to Chris Boucher. I ain't trying to hate on you, bro, but Chris Boucher is a very interesting player, man. He's a guy who's been in the Raptors for his whole career. 10.5 points a game this season. 50% from the field, 37% from 3 of 4 attempts. He can spread the floor. Weird thing with him is that he's very streaky, at least on the offensive end, and he'll give you flash moments. He'll give you moments where he'll dunk on people. He attacks closeouts. He can move well off the ball. He can cut to the basket. Has a weird game. He looks slow and fast at the same time, like very stridey, if that makes sense. But he's like kind of like a slowish, not slow like Kyle Anderson, but like a weird robot. But again, the thing with him is just consistency. And with where the Raptors are going, you could argue he never really had a chance even during his better. Earlier years, because you had Pascal, you had guys like Marc Gasol, you had so many other bigs on the Raptors team that kind of filled out the frame. So it was just like he was never really gonna get really space to really shine or show his skills. He's always kind of like a role player in a sense, right? Like if you look at his career, Chris Boucher has never he's only averaged 3 times in his career over 20 minutes a game, but even those 2 of the years where he averaged 20 minutes a game, he played less than 10 or started less than 10 games. The 1 year is averaging 24.2 points a game. 24.2 minutes a game. He played 60 games, only started 14. So he's always seen as like a role player. They just always had the other guys to really rely on, in the front court. The thing with Chris Boucher is that, with the age coming now, man, can he space the floor? Yes. Is he streaky? Yes. Does he make bad decisions, odd decisions? Many times he does. Confusing decisions will pass into nothingness. Like he just, his dribbling is dreadful at times. He's not really a dribbler. But when you talk about, are you going to give him the ball to maybe go 1v1 or closeout? If the guy doesn't jump in the air and try to block the shot and he's in front of him, do you tell him to pass back out? He's a weird player, but I guess you're not going to be asking him to do a lot of things. One thing I'm a little concerned on, he has good rebounding numbers, but he doesn't rank high in terms of contested rebounds, which bugs me out. Like, he's averaging around 4.3 rebounds a game, which is decent, given the fact he's only playing 17.3 minutes. But again, he doesn't rank high in terms of contested rebounds per game, right? Or contested rebound percentage, which is what you want. You want rugged rebounders. You want the Josh Harts out there. Cat is doing a good job in defensive end this year. I believe still number 1, number 2. Probably number 1 in contested defensive rebounds. You need somebody who's going to get dirty in the trenches. Now, obviously, Mitchell Robinson coming back definitely should help, but Mitch Robinson is not going to be 100% to go probably ever again. right? So you want your other guys to kind of fill in that role and help out on the boards, even with Mitchell Robinson in there. Does Chris Boucher do that? I'm not sure. It's like, I don't call him a luxury player, but he's a weird fit that if you had a real playmaker come off the bench, a real facilitator come off the bench, you run with Chris Boucher on the outside. Chris Boucher could space the floor, but then you need another defender rebounding there. And I'm getting Chris Boucher because I think that I'm hoping he could give me some rebound defense, right? His defense isn't good this year. Offensive rating when he's on the floor of 115 for the Raptors, 110 when he's off the floor, which is not good. So again, age and just his weird value doesn't really fit exactly what the Knicks want in terms of defense. Because again, the scoring I think is fine, right? What the Knicks still top 5 in terms of overall. Sorry, top 5 to top 8 in terms of scoring offense in the league. So you need those defenders. You need those guys from the wing position who could essentially grab you those rebounds, prevent second chance opportunities, give you second chance opportunities on boards, defend other teams' best front court players and some of the wings, anywhere from the 2 to the 3 to the 4 position. And you're hoping Chris Boucher could do that. That's not really his game. So he remains to be seen. We'll see what the Raptors would do. I'm not sure what the hell's going to happen with Chris Boucher, but he definitely would be an interesting piece for the Knicks if they could get him. Some other players on the list: Seth Curry, three-point shooter, little undersized. I don't think he fits with the Knicks' need at the position. We already have enough so-called three-point shooting guards. Marvin Bagley, soft league. I'm good on Marvin Bagley. And golly, man, the Kings drafted Marvin Bagley. Literally set everything that we're seeing in motion with the Mavericks, bro. The Kings drafted Luka Doncic. We'd be in a whole other different reality right now. Lonnie Walker's a player I like. Everywhere he goes, he produces. And it's like, I don't know, he just doesn't get the opportunity to really show his wrist. I liked the year he had with the Lakers. He was a good attacker to the basket, could shoot the ball well. I don't know what the hell is up with freaking Lonnie Walker. Why is it that teams don't want to give this dude a chance? I have no idea. He's had some, I would say, behavioral issues. He came out, years ago talking about, abuse and stuff like that happened. I don't think that's still afflicting him. But, I think he's been a constant pro in that regard. You never had any issues with Lonnie Walker. But Lonnie Walker, even this season with the Brooklyn Nets, 38.4% from 3, 42% from the field, 9.7 points a game, in only 17.4 minutes. Never started a game this season. So I like Lonnie Walker as a scoring guard. The defense, can you rely on him to defend your wings? That's not his game. That's not his game. But as just an overall bench scorer, man, Lonnie Walker would be, I think he'd be decent for the Knicks. Get him here in Tom Thibodeau's system, the tenacity and all that good jazz. I think it'd be great. Oh, I think it'd be good. By the way, I'm sorry, he didn't play this. He's not playing this season. He played last year with the Brooklyn Nets. But I liked him more so with the Lakers. That one year he played with the Lakers. I thought he was really good coming off the bench. So I'm not sure what's happening to Lonnie Walker. But, he's probably mid-rank in terms of so-called buyout options for the Knicks. But, yeah, Lonnie Walker would be a guy. He would be a guy I would like on this Knicks team if we didn't have such a so-called need for the defense at the wing big guard position. And look, there's some other players, but I guess last but not least, Larry Nance Jr. Decent player, solid rebounder. Could run the floor, still has his bunnies left in his legs, averaging 8.2 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, 1.6 assists. He is actually shooting 46.4% from 3 for 3.1 attempts a game, 41.5% last year, around 35% for his total career. He could definitely be another option for the Knicks, especially with the Hawks just kind of cutting and moving players around. He could be a guy that's definitely open in the buyout market. I would think that the Knicks will look at him just because you want that rebound defensive profile at the wing position. He's definitely a name to be considered. I like this game more so with, like, say, the Cleveland Cavaliers, just as he's energy hustle guy. He's like Josh Hart. He's Josh Hart without the passing, but at 6'8". I'm just saying this because they both light skinned. But Larry Nance is a decent option. Again, can run the floor, can definitely help you rebound. He's a rugged type of player, energy hustle player, less of a pass say Josh Hart. But he's definitely a guy Knicks should consider, especially with his three-point has improved over the years, three-point shooting. I think he actually fit nicely on the Knicks in Tom Thibodeau's system. He's probably one of those guys that kind of peak a little bit just because Tom Thibodeau's focus would be like, look, man, I don't need you to score. I don't need you to do any of that jazz. Just rebound for me, get the putbacks, defend at a high level, and you'll make your wares there this season for us. But yeah, let's get to the hell nah candidates. So some of these hell nah candidates, Cam Reddish, he's gonna come back to the Knicks after he's with Charlotte right now. Nah. The player I liked, talented, but he's just never developed into that 3-and-D guy that he probably should have been to start out, and then try to transform that or transition that into getting more touches. You know, there've been attitude issues and stuff like that. He's just definitely not coming. Daniel Tice, I believe, was just released. He's another player that, look, if teams need a so-called big to help at that front court position, you truly have value, even as just a rebounding defensive big, he would have been kept, but no. Reggie Jackson, whose game has been, I think, offensive game has been in somewhat of decline for some years that no. Taj Gibson, Fort Green's finest, my guy. How many times? I like Taj Gibson just because, man, he's represented, but this is not 2010 anymore. This is real life-ish. Taj Gibson, you my guy. Fort Green's finest. God bless you. We good. Josh Richardson, whose offense has kind of been finito. He had some years with the Heat and whatnot, but Josh Richardson, for what you need from a defensive standpoint at the wing position, I just think he's kind of washed. He's never been a really good outside shooter like that. But you want that from the 3-and-D position, but nah, I'm going. Patrick Bollinger, I've never liked coming out of college. I thought he was soft. I thought he was overrated. I'm good. PJ Tucker's way too old. Johnny Davis can't shoot. It's not really explosive. He's not going to really get to the basket. He peaked in college. He's never been a good enough shooter. Can't create space. I'm good on Johnny Davis. I think he's only a 6'5" Chris Duarte, he's older. And look, man, sometimes you just older in the competition. You look better because of that. Chris Duarte's moved from team to team to team to team. Can't stick. Offense is not there. Defense is. So I'm good on these guys. Knicks could pass up on all these guys. So let's move to some of the in-house candidates. Now, there is one player that the Knicks could definitely tap into in-house. Now, you've seen them use Huck Purdy, who I've liked, a player who's shown in the last few the last few games for the New York Knicks, a player who I thought could possibly replace Mitchell Robinson for years. But you have some in-house options. Now, one that I think they should be given a chance to if everything else fails, regardless of Pacome Daddier, because of his defense. You want that tenacity that he showed in the Summer League. He showed in the preseason. In a few games he played this season for the Knicks. Granted, he made a few three-point shots, but that wasn't the most important thing. It was his defense, his play rotationally, just how he moves in terms of played in Tom Thibodeau's system, played point of attack defense, be able to rotate within the defensive system, play the pick and roll defense as well too. I like Pacome, and I think he could be an underrated weapon, but Tom Thibodeau may not be looking at, I'm not sure. Now, the player who I think that a lot of people are clamoring for, a player who would probably provide the Knicks with at least an offensive punch from the bench, is T.J. Warren, a player who unfortunately has had some brutal foot injuries, but was literally a walking bucket when he was with the Phoenix Suns. Still was doing that a little bit for the Indiana Pacers. Then he caught that foot injury. It was actually several fractures, and I think he had plantar fasciitis on his right foot as well too. Missed the whole season. Was out for 2021-22 season, if I remember. But this is a player in T.J. Warren who's absolutely lighting up for the G League Westchester team, averaging 20.2 points a game off of 50% shooting from the field, 40.2% from three as well too, 82% from the stripe, 6.1 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 1 steal. But again, we know that G League stats are typically overinflated, especially for players who are either capable on the NBA level to some extent, or who are developing players. And so look, for T.J. Warren, who just set a record, a Westchester Knicks record, scoring 47 points. Look, the defense is probably not going to be there, right? You told my guys had multiple fractures last time he played with Brooklyn Nets in the big leagues. The on and off ratings for the offense for the opposing team was 119 when he was on, 115 when he was off. So again, the defense has never really been his calling card. But the thing with him is that he can space the floor, right? When we talk about him transitioning over from kind of like this on ball, just do everything, guard off the bench, to now a consummate outside shooter in terms of catch and shoots. I think he's shown it a little bit in the G League. Now, granted, after the foot injury, his three-point shooting has been terrible throughout all of his so-called stops. Could this be a G League thing? Yes. But when we talk about him coming onto this team, is he going to give you, say, the same defensive tenacity as, say, a Landry Shamet? Maybe not. But if that means I get 2 threes a game off the bench from TJ Warren, because he can actually hit shots, and like Landry Shamet, whose 3-point shooting was actually declined from last, or has been in decline these last 2 seasons, shot 34% last year. I could get that with a guy like TJ Warren. And again, just as a walking bucket, even against just weaker defenders come off the bench, I think he gives you a better option than, say, Landry Shamet. And the Knicks have always struggled with shot creation away from Jalen Brunson. You know, ever since after the first season from Derrick Rose, the Knicks have never really had that scoring punch, a guy you could give the ball to and kind of allow him to do his thing. And granted, it's the G League, so he comes to the big leagues, it might not be the same, but I definitely think that he should definitely be considered. Yeah, guys like Matt Ryan, who got called up to the big leagues. Then there's just absolutely no way that TJ Warren shouldn't get some minutes. And granted, Matt Ryan's not getting major minutes, but TJ Warren should definitely get a look. Who does he replace? Like I said, it's most likely going to be Landry Shamet, because Cameron Payne is still a valuable player. McBride, despite his struggles, is still shooting, 36-37% from 3. This is, lower than his average last year for like 40-41%. But Miles McBride, even with some of the defensive lapses, still provides you a lot more value than, say, Landry Shamet. So TJ Warren could definitely be an option for the Knicks. Again, they have to wait till February 28th to be able to make that signing, so they aren't hard capped at the second, truly hard capped at the second apron, or screwed over because they have to wait till February 28th. Anyway. But yeah, TJ Warren is definitely a name the Knicks could consider. Like I mentioned before, again, other players, Pacome Daddier, Huck Purdy's ready to get in minutes. So we'll definitely see how the Knicks move. But they shouldn't go out and kill themselves for a player they think they'll fit them for the buyout market if they feel like, again, Huck Purdy's valuable at the center position. Valuable enough, which I think they do. Pacome Daddier could come in and give you defensive minutes at that wing position versus trying to go out and maybe get a player who's 6'3", 6'4", and try to force him to kind of play in that defensive wing position, right? Why not get some of the guys in the team? When we talk about scoring punch, TJ Warren's there. So we'll see. But guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments. Leave your likes on this video. Appreciate you guys. It's your boy G. Malesia, Knicks. Peace, God bless. I see you guys on the next one.